get your arms way up in a cast and set the hook on smallmouth bass, and then you'll understand. Gotta get your hands on a Shimano reel and a G-Loomis round. I bet you like what you feel. Step on the deck, give it a whirl. Hello, welcome to my world.
What's going on YouTube and Facebook Live? Been 3 weeks since I've been live. Boy, we're going to have a good show tonight. Mark Hickey in the house first and foremost. Let's go! That's right, baby. We are in live action, rare form tonight. Got some updates for you guys coming at you. First and foremost, some of the pressing issues that I want to get out of the way is, those of you guys that don't know, my lower unit decided it did not want to work no more. Bingo. So, again, yeah, no, Mark, I've been slacking. Pretty much down in the dumps, to be honest with you, because my lower unit's jacked up. We're going to talk about that in just a second. K-Flair Bassett in the house. What's up, buddy? Yep, about to get it started. It's getting started in here. Oh, sorry. I promise not to ever do that again. First and foremost, I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Oh, yeah. A little tumbler. Yeah, let's get it over here so it actually focuses on the cup. There we go. Lean on them. Shannon Maple, who was one of the lucky winners of our giveaway last time, sent me this tumbler in the mail. It's pretty awesome. I love this thing. Maple Nut Designs on Facebook. Check her out. I would show you the bottom of it, but this thing might be full of Tito's. Might be. Anyway, so back to the task at hand. Thanks for joining again today, guys. Live Facebook Live or Facebook and YouTube Live. Appreciate it. Share this thing out. Lie to your buddies. Say, hey, dude, this guy likes to talk about fishing, and he actually knows what he's talking about. Whether I do or not, who cares? We're having fun. Thanks for joining us again. A lot of things happened in this past 2 weeks. Is why I haven't been live again, guys. I hit something in my boat. I don't know what's going on with it. I just dropped it off at Freedom today. Try to get that stuff taken care of and try to figure out what's going on with it. I'm hoping it's just a bearing, even if it's the gimbal bearing in there. Something's up. I absolutely got covered with lower unit oil the other day. I hit something again at Grayson. Me and Misty were out. Started getting really hard to shift, put the boat on the trailer. Tried to get everything lubed up as far as the shift shaft. Still no go. Needed to change the lower unit oil anyway because I do that every year. Pulled the plug of my lower unit, and it absolutely covered me in oil. Like, I'm talking from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. I was wearing work clothes. I'm a high school teacher, most of you guys know. I work in a lot of different I work in different clothes than most high school teachers. I work in a lab. So I usually use like Dickie pants and those things. Not to be confused with Mark Hickey's pants, but Dickie pants and stuff that I can pick up at Walmart. They're fairly cheap, but I was wearing those, and I was wearing a fairly decent pair of shoes that I have wearing this year, some dress shoes. It ruined everything I was wearing. Matter of fact, my truck still smells like it because I literally look like I took a bath in that crap. If you've never, ever in your entire life smelled burnt hydraulic oil, don't ever do it. It is the absolute worst smell on the planet, I think. It is terrible. I mean, like, I had oil dripping off of my face. When I pulled the plug, there was pressure buildup in that thing that absolutely covered me, man. Like, it absolutely, like, added insult to injury. You know, basically like, hey, you know what? This is going to cost you thousands of dollars to fix, but just to beat that, we're going to put oil all over you, and we're going to ruin your clothes and your shoes too. So, insult to injury. However, I dropped it off to Freedom today. I talked to Scott, the mechanic there. He seems to think that it's just a bearing, or maybe 2, or maybe 819. I don't know how many is in there. But he says that, you know, as long as it's still spinning, which it is, I fished all day with it until at the end of the day, I put it on the trailer and was getting some issues with it. But I think it's just some bearings. I'm looking at probably upwards of $1,000 to fix. BOAT, bust out another 1,000. You guys know how that means. You know what it's all about. But anyway, enough of the negative stuff. The reason I was not on live the past 2 weeks again, because I was pretty much down and out, man. It seems like never fails. You guys know about my truck, which I want to knock on wood. My truck right now is running fairly good. No deal. It was in a couple months ago, had it in the shop, putting on a new EGR cooler, but that thing, it eats them apparently. And it's under warranty, so I'm okay with that right now. Truck was running fine. Last year during this time, during spring break, my truck was down. COVID was hitting. We were bouncing all around, didn't know what was going on. And then now I'm here, same deal. Spring break starts this Friday for me. Misty and I were headed to Chick or St. Clair, which, by the way, they are absolutely smashing them at St. Clair. I saw a video today. Some random guy I was looking at on YouTube caught 119 smallies on St. Clair this past week, which is crazy times. But I was planning on going. Obviously can't do that. But I'm hoping to get my boat back. We're going to go back. So last year I had my truck in the shop, couldn't go spring break fishing. This year my boat's in the shop, can't go spring break fishing. So I got a plan. Next year, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend like I don't even get a spring break. I'm going to plan on working. That way I know that I don't have to worry about fishing. What's up, Tristan? I haven't seen you in a while, buddy. We'll have to get together and do some fishing now that my boat's jacked up. I'll head down your way and you can show me around Cumberland and a few other places. First and foremost, this episode obviously is brought to you, not obviously, but it's brought to you by Odyssey Batteries. So if you guys watch my channel, you guys saw a video that I posted last week called The Weekend from Hell. And that was one of those was my blower unit in my boat jacking up. That was one thing that was kind of like the start of the Weekend from Hell. So we're out fishing. Misty and I'm 7 trips deep this year. 7 since the start of 2021. And I misspoke on my last video. I said 2020. That's how wrecked my mind's been. I am 7 trips deep in 2021, and I've yet to catch a fish. I am like 0, goose egg, nada, nothing. I can't catch a fish, man. Like, I don't know what the deal is. Now I'm going to have to figure something out. So that was Stephen Chase. What's up, brother? Man, I saw that your window was busted out on your rig. Hopefully everything works out there. Larry Slack. Dude, got your glasses on the way. Can't promise they're going to be here for tomorrow. I hope they are. But do have 2 pair of the glasses you want coming in from Solar Bat. You're going to love them. They'll be in hopefully before you leave. Can't promise it. So that was the start of it. My boat jacked up. That was one thing. So I'm not catching a fish. Haven't caught a fish. Misty catches one. I'm really proud of her. We give each other a hard time. She says that she catches more fish than I do. Probably right. However, I tell her she's got a good guide. Whether that's true or not, who knows? We'll just let her, think that. Anyway, so I put the boat on a trailer. Everything's fine. I'm going home. Everything's good. I'm still on my mind. I know something is wrong with my boat. I know that. I'm mechanically enough inclined to know that something is up with my boat. So I got this on my mind. I'm worried about it, but I know Kyle's in town. We're supposed to fish the Lawrence County Bass Club tournament at Grayson. That's why I was out there pre-fishing, trying to find some fish for the next day. We go over to the ramp that next morning. I meet Kyle at Colgrove Speedway. We drive out there. Everything's good to go. We pay our entry fee to fish the Lawrence County Bass Club tournament, $110. Back the boat in the ramp. Everything's good. We idle back into Deer Creek, put the trolling motor down. Dead. 0 juice in the batteries. 2019 Nitro Z21 with 4 Interstate 31 series, and we still can't pull it. We can't pull it off. The thing about that is what's so weird about that is, so Kyle and I we had this big giant plan, right? We had this big old giant, I don't know, I guess you'd call it a scheme. So Kyle had a EU 2000 Honda generator in the back of his truck just for times like this to charge his batteries up when we didn't have any kind of power and we're out of town and things. He always keeps in the back of his truck. So he's like, you know what? Here's what we'll do. He said, we'll go back to the ramp. We'll get the generator. We'll put it on the back deck of the boat. We'll start it up. We'll plug in the charger, the onboard charger on the boat. We'll drift fish, whatever we could do for about an hour, at least till we can get enough juice to fish for a little while. And we'll work on that throughout the day. So I was like, sweet, no problem. Great deal. So we went back, put the boat on the trailer, went up to get the generator, got the generator out of the back of his truck. No gas, 0, zilch, nada, not even 1 drop of gas in the generator. So we leave the tournament, go around to the gas station. I think it's T&T Bait and Tackle there, right past the lake. They sell gas. Went in, bought 1 gallon of gas, filled the generator up, started the generator, plugged in the onboard charger. Bingo, everything's charging except bank 4. Bank 4 on his onboard charger is flashing. So we sit there and trying to do some mechanic work, and we get bank 3 charger cables going over to bank 4 battery, and it's still blinking. Bad battery. 2019 Interstate 31 series, junk. Cost us $110. Bad day. Fishing in the park videos again. Give me a little bit of help me with that. Fishing in the park videos again. I'll do that if you tell me what's up. Dad, yeah, talking about catfishing. I know a good guy. Dad caught a 45-pounder, I think, at Shorty's Pay Lake. Hammering them. Pretty cool stuff. Worm Leap, what's up, buddy? Glad to see you in the house. So, yeah, dude, so that's why I've not been live for the past couple weeks. But I'm trying to stay more positive because, let's face it, I don't care what you buy. You could buy you could buy one of the Nitro or the Ranger Icon series, $100,000 boat. Eventually, you're going to have mechanical issues with it. That's the way it is. Again, BOAT, bust out another 1,000 boat. That's what it stands for. I've always been told the 2 happiest days of your life is the day you buy a boat, and the second happiest is the day you sell it, which is probably true. Yeah, Worm. Biggest bag we've ever weighed in on a tournament together. Over 20 pound and 5 fish at Grayson. That's pretty good. We had a heck of a day. That was actually the one where Kyle and I won first, second, and big bass at Lawrence County tournament. So that was a great day. Yep, you're right, Randy. So I get it now. That's at Lake X, which I've dropped the name of that several times. If you're not in my area, the Lake X, in my opinion, around here is Lake Vesuvius. I do a lot of fishing out there. Some people, it's getting hammered now, and I'm not the only guy that talks about it. I'm by far not the only guy that fishes it. I didn't actually really start fishing it till last year. There's some big ones in there. But yeah, Josh, you're right. Cold, muddy, tough. We even said that, man. We even said it. It's going to be cold, muddy, tough. You know what? It is cold, muddy, and tough when you can't freaking fish. So it gets better. The story gets better. Before all that, we were getting the trolling motor and all that stuff fixed. I was like, you know what, Kyle? Here's the deal. We'll just take the big motor and we'll idle up to a spot. We'll put the power poles down and we'll fish the hell out of that spot until we're absolute certain that there's no fish there. And we'll either pull the power poles up, drift a little bit, put them down, fish that spot really well until we're absolutely certain there's no fish there, and then we'll move on. Well, here's something I've never thought about when it comes to power poles, Raptors, Talons, whatever. They're hooked up to the trolling motor batteries. No power poles? Nope. Sorry. No power poles for you. That's something I've never thought about. So, weekend from hell, to say the least. However, I'm hoping it goes up from here. Another thing that I want to mention to you guys, that if you guys are in our area and you're looking for a Vanford 2500 like this right here, these things right here are selling like absolute hotcakes. They are one of the most phenomenal reels Shimano's ever put out in this price point, $229. I'm going to grab this thing out of here. This one's not even mine. This is my buddy Dusty Smith's. So, Dusty, if you're out there watching, I promise not to put any line on this reel, and I promise not to fish it. But if you get it back and it's on a rod and there's line on it, Misty might have done it. I'm not sure. One of the two. But anyway, I'm going to put the handle on this reel. We're going to talk about the Vanford. And the reason I want to talk about the Vanford is that the tackle box has them in stock now. 500s, 1000s, 2000s, 2500. This is a 2500 here. A lot of cool things in the Vanford reel that you're going to see coming out with Shimano. Really cool deal. MGL rotor, Magnum Light rotor, 25% less startup inertia, which means you're going to be able to spin this reel a lot easier. It feels like there's nothing here. You're looking at the CI4, the carbon-infused body. You have a really nice tactile drag. A lot of people don't know between a 2500 and a 3000 series. The only thing really different is the handle. This is a 2500 series handle. The 3000 series has a paddle handle, and a 3000 series reel body is the same size, but the spool is bigger. It has more line, and some models actually have a higher gear ratio. if you guys are out there, actually, matter of fact, if let's see, there's a few guys that have been heckling me on my page about me not knowing anything about Shimano reels. I've been trying to look at your page and trying to find all your videos about Shimano reels, but for some reason, the people that are heckling me has 0 videos and 0 followers. So start making some videos. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. These things, they have them at the tackle box, $229. But the reel of the century right now that just come out is the new Shimano Ultegra. Why is it so great? Well, it's almost just like the old Stratic CI4. The only difference is you're not getting the Magnum Light rotor. You still have the, you're still getting the, so let's compare this $229 reel to the new Ultegra, which is $159 price point. You're getting a long stroke spool on this reel as well as that reel. CI4 plus frame, you're getting that on this reel as well as that reel. The MGL rotor that's on this reel, you do not get that. The bearings are a little different. In this bearing, this right here, there is a 7 + 1 bearing, which means there's 7 on the internal, and then the roller bearing. So that gives you 7 total. On the Ultegra, there's 5 + 1, which means there's 5 bearings internal and 1 on the roller bearing. So that's a little different price point. Long stroke spool, micro module 2 gearing on this reel and the Ultegra. $159 price point on the Ultegra, $229 on this. If I'm going to choose between the two, Vanford all day, every day. Next in line from the Vanford, and this is Dusty's reel too, Stratic 2500 HG. Difference between this reel and the Vanford, you're going to get the Hagane body. Hagane means metal, or the frame here is a lot more rigid. You're also going to get the Hagane gear in all 3 of these reels I'm talking about, which is a cold forged technology that Shimano has, that actually they stamp the gears. It's, you know, they under a lot of pressure, they create these gears under a cold forging process. What that does is it makes it a lot more rigid, also makes it a lot more wear a lot better for the longevity of the reel. Kyle Maddox, buddy. Thanks for the super chat, man. I appreciate it. $10, man. So first off, those of you guys that don't know Kyle, I don't know Kyle personally. However, I feel like he's like my brother from another mother. This dude likes to fish Shimano reels. He likes to fish all kind of stuff, and he appreciates what I do, and I appreciate him. It seems like every video that I post, this dude is out there commenting on my videos, talking about stuff. We're having a conversation. That's what it's all about. Kyle, we need to get together and do some fishing, man. I'll be up your way. If my boat never gets fixed, it might be sooner than later. So I don't care. Like, we'll go bank fishing. I do not care what's going to happen. Appreciate you very much. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it more than you ever know. Kyle, what do you want to know, man? Ask me a question. I will, obviously don't super chat me again, but let's talk. Appreciate it. K Flair Bassin. Is that a good reel for shaky heads? So yeah, man. Any 3 of these reels that I'm talking about right now are great. The Ultegra is $159 price point. The Stratic, I think, is $189. Don't quote me on that. And the Vanford is $229. Yeah, $229. But these reels are really tough to come by. If you want to get a hold of one, the tackle box does have all 3 of these reels that I think I'm talking about. I know they have the Ultegra and they have the Vanford. If you guys have not seen the Twin Power, super nice reel, really high, higher price point. The X-Sense is higher than that, super nice reel. The Stella is above that. But we're getting a lot of revamps on spinning reels from Shimano. The new Ultegra is a revamp. That was a reel that was out before. We had the Stratic, again, is a new revamp. The Vanford, in my opinion, is just a replacement for the Stratic CI4. Is it better? Absolutely. But I feel like it's in the same ballpark as that. But there is a new, I can't think of the name of the reel right now. There is I don't know. I'll think of it in a second. But there's a one right above the Vanford that's really awesome too. Yeah, no, I appreciate you, Kyle. More than you know, man. I appreciate you being there and comment on my stuff and supporting what I do. It's people like you that make me do this and have fun doing it. Again, it's easy for me to get in the dumps because I'm human and I fish. Guys, we talked about it. I put more stress on my boat than most people because I'm on the water way more than most people. But it's easy for me to get down when I see your comments and people like you. It makes me feel really well. So I appreciate that more than you know. Jacob, Vanford is a real deal. Should it be REEL? Real deal? Dude, this phenomenal reel. I can't wait to get my 3000. This is the only 2500 series I do own. This is not mine. Again, this is Dusty's, but I do have a Vanford 2500 paired with a Poison Adrena 6'11" medium heavy. Phenomenal combo. But it's the only 2500 series that I own and probably will own, just for the simple fact is I wanted one so bad that I had to splurge and get the 2500 because the 3000s are non-existent. You can't get them. However, Greg has 500 series Vanfords, dude. Talk about an ultralight, like over the moon. Like you put that with like an ultralight NRX. Oh my God. Like dude, bluegills wouldn't even know what hit him. Appreciate it, Kyle. Again, get out there and whatever you do. If you're on call, be safe out there. So yeah, we'll get together and we'll do some fishing. Appreciate it. Again, we'll get out there and lean on them. Couple of questions we're going to talk about tonight is going to be one of those things about questions that I get constantly asked throughout my tenure as a mediocre bass fisherman. We're going to talk about a little bit of them. We'll get your feedback on what you think. First question: what is the best way to find fish in lakes or bodies of water with little or no visible cover? So obviously, this goes without saying. If you have the best electronics on the planet, use them. Personally, I don't. I have really nice 6-inch Humminbirds. I'm hoping to upgrade. I'm actually I'm trying to work my deals, trying to work my magic. I got people like putting words in with me, good words in with Johnson Outdoors. We had Bill Carson on the show a few weeks ago. I'm trying to get, to be a part of the Johnson Outdoor team. I hate to say this, but I'm kind of glad it didn't happen in the past couple of weeks because I know I would have just blown a ton of cash on, graphs and stuff, and I need it to fix my boat. So if you have great graphs and you have the ability to use them, that's obviously number one answer. Use your graphs, use your senses, try to find something that is not visible and is under the water. However, there are other options for you to use, and one of my favorite options is to find lakes that, especially if I know where I'm going and I can plan a trip and plan ahead. One of my favorite things to use is Google Maps. Guys, you can go back and use history of Google Maps, and I'll do a YouTube video on that showing you guys. So you can actually show water, especially if it is a body of water that they draw down in the wintertime. You could actually, use the history of those photos and find a photo from that lake where the water is drawn down to winter pool, and you can actually find where those brush piles and where those rock piles and things are that are normally underwater. The cool thing about that is if you are a subscriber to the Angler app, which is 100% free, but they have a premium side of things where you can actually go in on the map, and actually it might be part of the free version, but I know you can do it on the premium version. But you can go into the map on a Google map and actually pin locations on their map. Well, the cool thing about that is that automatically is transferred to your phone because it's on the cloud. If you own a Lowrance graph, and I'm sure you can do it with a Humminbird, you just have to export it as a GPX file. But if you have the app and you have a Lowrance graph, you could transfer those waypoints directly from your phone or directly from the app to your device, your Lowrance device, which is pretty cool. So that's how I would suggest finding fish when there's lakes or bodies that you can't see cover. Another thing is fish moving baits that you can cover a ton of water. Try to find things that stick out. Obviously, find springs that are running into the water. Find clearer water. Find differentiation between the bank structure. You can, if you fish enough, which I'm sure 100% of us do, you can go out to a lake and you can look at a bank and you can know whether that bank is either shallow off from it or it comes out and drops totally off. And sometimes, especially pre-spawn, which we're at right now, what I figure in Ohio, we're in that pre-spawn stage, is that fish right now are moving up into the area to stage to spawn, and that's going to spawn. Last time I was out, water temperature was roughly 60 degrees, so I figured anywhere from 60 to 65. Those big girls are going to be moving up into the shallows and getting ready to rub their bellies. But I feel like that fish will try to find a staging point that is more steep. So you're gonna find them on bluff walls that are like right around the bend from a big spawning flat or something. The reason this is because the water's warming up. They're trying to feed up. They're trying to get, they gorge themselves before they go on the nest, especially the females, because they're on the nest for quite a while, and they usually don't eat unless something is there in their bed. Then they'll eat it out of an attack response. But what happens is they can just fill their swim bladder and move up and down the water column a lot, really quick to catch bait in a little less, with less effort. So those are a few things that I would do: is look for either steep or shallow banks, depending on what time of year. This time of year, I look for those steeper banks, and going into the summer, you're going to want to look for more shallow things, in my opinion. Next question. This is one that stumps me. Let me go what you guys think. What do you think happens to bass when water rises rapidly? For example, in Ohio, in my area right now, we're getting a lot of flooding and so forth. It's kind of going down now, but we had the big major ice storm. We had some snow. The snow and ice melted, causing some major runoff. There was snow everywhere, ice everywhere. When it finally melted off, it all rushed into the tributaries, and we had flooding. Grayson Lake was 17 feet above Summer Pool at one point this spring, which is crazy to think about. What happens to those bass when that water is just rushing into these places? I will tell you, the very best day I ever had in my life at Yatesville Lake, the water was in the parking lot of the main ramp. It was like 10 foot high, but it was clear and 10 foot high, and it was weird. Like, I'm talking 5 foot of visibility and it being 10 foot high in the parking lot. Pretty crazy. But I found fish in spots that they wouldn't normally be in because there's never any water that high. I was pitching a Zoom lizard, and I'm not kidding you, man. I went old school. I was pitching a 5-inch Zoom lizard. I can't remember. I think it was an old school black lizard with a chartreuse tail, water clear. Just had one on my boat. You know what? I'm going to throw this. So I was pitching it up in the cover that was literally on the bank, and there would be no fish in there because it's a hiking trail or something. I was pitching up in that stuff and catching fish, literally in inches of water, being 10 foot deep. It's something that eludes me. What happens to those fish when the stuff rises? I don't know what happens to those fish. I assume that depending on where they're at in the stage, as far as the stage of the year, I feel like that they're going to be, more apt to stay where they're at. But the thing about that is, what happens to me when I think about that is a fish. Let's just say that they're normal in 8 foot of water during a time of year, and then you get 10 foot of water on top of that. That fish is now in 18 feet of water. So do they stay there, or do they move up? Do they move down? One thing that I have to figure out is if they stay there, I need to be fishing in 18 feet of water now instead of 8 feet of water. Fred, they follow the bait. I agree with that 100%. I will, in our lakes, Yatesville, Grayson, even Rocky Fork, I'm seeing a lot more shad activity. I saw a ton of shad activity at Lake X the other day when I was out there. Again, didn't matter. 7 deep and still haven't caught a fish, but it happened. So I'm with you on following the bait. But it seems like, I had a guy tell me one time, and he asked me, we were talking about a lake, and it was kind of funny. He's like, Tyler, where are you going fishing? I was like, I'm going to go out Yatesville. It's super muddy. And he said, is it old mud or is it new mud? And like, it hit me funny. I was like, is it old mud or new mud? Like, it's just mud, man. He's like, no, is it like been in the lake a while, or is it just now fresh coming into the lake? And I had to think about it. I was like, man, I don't know. I guess it's been in there a few days. Like we haven't had any rain for like 3 or 4 days, but the water's still muddy. And he was like, you know what? He's like, fish bite really good in muddy water if it's old muddy water. He said, if it's brand new muddy water, you might as well forget it. Pack it up, go home. Which makes sense to me, especially if it's cold muddy water like it has been lately. But it was funny. He was telling me, he's like, is it old mud or is it new mud? So me and Kyle have this big deal. It's like, is it fishing? Is it muddy? And they're like, yeah, well, is it old mud or is it new mud? Hopefully. So here's one of the things that I get asked a lot of times. And that is, do you find fishing tournaments unethical? Why or why not? I don't think so. I could see where there's a lot of people that get butthurt over people fishing tournaments. And here's one of the major downfalls that I see about the 5 fish bring in release deal. A lot of times, you're fishing tournaments in really, really hot temperatures, and people don't take care of their fish in their live well. They don't do live well care. That's a video that I got coming up as soon as I get my boat back. I'm going to show you guys how I clean out my live wells with a gallon of distilled vinegar and a bottle of peroxide in each one of my live wells and let it run. But I don't think people do that very well. I think that they had a tournament. I want to believe it was on Laurel or somewhere down there. It actually may have been Del Hollow. But they had a Toyota Series event or something a couple years ago, and it absolutely wrecked a bunch of fish. Like there was 200 or so dead fish, which, that happens. But here's the thing that I think about that. I pay for my fishing license. You pay for your fishing license. Your buddy pays for his fishing license. The reason we pay for our fishing license is to be able to take those fish out of there and eat them, do whatever we want to with them. That we're paying for those fish. In other states, I see a lot of states putting fish in, especially like West Virginia. I don't know much about their bass fish population, but they do a lot of research and they do a lot of development when it comes to their trout streams, which I think is really cool. I have never personally seen the ODNR stock any kind of fish other than trout. I've never seen it. I figured some of our money of our fishing license would go to that stocking new ponds and stuff, but I've never seen them put fish in a pond or in a lake or in a tributary that wasn't trout. Which is what it is. I don't believe that fishing tournaments is unethical. I really don't. The unethical side of tournaments for me is people who cheat in said tournaments. I think that's the most unethical thing about it. And I think that with social media now, that's stopped a lot because people are quick to call people out. Matter of fact, I'm a member of the Lake Chickamauga Fishing Report page, along with like 58,000 other people. But there was one guy that posted a picture on there calling this guy out for getting fish out of a basket. And it turns out the guy had his crankbait hung in an old anchor rope, and the guy wasn't even fishing a tournament. Excuse me. So I think the unethical part is people that try to cheat in tournaments. And I don't think it happens that often, but there are some. Dusty, they hammered them on flooded Pickwick last weekend catching fish where there was no water the week before. You're right. I saw that, man. I saw those guys up in there around the Pickwick Dam, and they were up in those trees on the dam where you would probably have a picnic with your family the last week, which is crazy. Richard Rawlings, they do very little for bass in West Virginia. Trout and walleye get all the love. So let's talk about trout for a minute. I love catching trout. They're one of the most fun fish to catch, man, because they are wild fighters. I would love to get like a Loomis fly rod and go wade in like the Elk River in West Virginia or, up around Burgoo and do some, slack water trout fishing. That's my jam. I'd love to do that. However, I wasn't really big on trout. Like, I don't like the way they taste. And if I'm out fish for trout, most of the time, I'm going to eat them. The only fish that I eat on this planet is walleye and crappie. And I like both. They're phenomenal fish to eat. Oh my God, they're awesome. So I actually grilled, or I did. My buddy Brooke Williams brought a steelhead, which I assume was salmon. I thought steelhead was salmon, but apparently it's in the trout family, or Kroger doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. It was labeled as steelhead trout, which again, somebody out there that knows steelhead, I thought it was salmon. I guess sockeye is salmon. Steelhead apparently is a trout. Who knows? But we grilled it with we had some fixings on there, grilled it in some aluminum foil, let it cook for 15, 20 minutes until it was done through. It was actually really good. It wasn't walleye or crappie, but I could see myself eating it again. Yeah, so Marky, you're right. I think that was the Del Hollow, right? Dude, what in the absolute... What just happened here? Horse Racing Fan Zone, which is my buddy Brooke over there, dropping bombs, man. Just dropped $50 for a super sticker. Dude, you are the freaking man. What can I say? You are the absolute man. I don't know what. So here's the deal, guys. If you guys like horse racing and you like free horse racing tips, my buddy Brooke has a cool thing going on Facebook and YouTube. YouTube channel is HRFZ Horse Racing Fan Zone. Same deal on Facebook. Go over there and like that. The dude follows like 8 data points, finds a bunch of horses that he likes, and gives you free weekly picks of how to make some money if you're into the betting on the ponies. And he's really good at it, man. The dude, it blows my mind. He knows horse racing like I think I know fishing. We can have a conversation. He's way over my head. He's talking about this, talk about trifectas and quinellas and all this stuff that I've heard of, and I've probably bet at a horse track before, didn't know. Like, oh, I'll just take a long shot. Here's what I'll do. But he actually does some really, really amazing things. And it's pretty cool. Like I said, if you like horse racing, go over there and check out Horse Racing Fan Zone on YouTube and Facebook. Brooke, you're the man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it very much. They do very little for bass in West Virginia. We posted that a second ago. Yep, you're right. So I think that walleye and those things are doing. So what I was saying, my original train of thought before Brooke just wrecked it, is I think that I want to try to eat trout again. I think like the cedar planked trout on a grill, I want to try it. So I'm with you, Fred. I think that the Ohio is worse at stocking bass, and I don't get it. Where does our money go? Where does our state fishing licenses go? Where do they go? I don't know. Have no clue. The only thing I can tell you is that I've been checked by DNR on the water. Great. I'm okay with that. I'm 100% above the law, or I fly below the radar. I'm not above the law. That was terrible. I'm 100% legal. I fish. I buy my licenses no matter where I go. Ohio, West Virginia, Indiana, Tennessee, Michigan. Those were ones I had last year. Alabama, I had those last year. I buy my license. So I know some of that goes to pay those people salaries for the ODNR officers and things. I get that. But what do they do as far as conservation other than stocking trout for like wounded warriors and stuff, which, by the way, absolutely love. Whenever I can get and hang out with those people, willing sportsmen and those guys, and hang out with the kids and things out there, I absolutely love it. Man, they catch a trout or catch a bluegill or whatever, man, their eyes light up and they have a smile from ear to ear. That's what it's all about. I'm okay with that. But what happens to the rest of our money? Where does it go? Somebody needs to follow the bread trail there. I'm not real sure. Del Hollow. Brooke, you're the man. I don't know what to tell you. I appreciate it very, very much. Very much. Very much. Lake Erie. Yeah, you're probably right, man. So I can't knock Lake Erie as far as their conservation and things. Walleye, that's where I go. That's where I go to catch walleye. I have a buddy, Chuck Dotson. You guys have heard me talk about him 100 different times. But Chuck Dotson puts you on the meat, and I go there just to catch fish to put it in the freezer. I love walleye. Best fish on the planet to eat fried. Absolutely amazing. You're not going to change my mind. Great. The walleye population in Lake Erie right now is astronomical. I'm talking it is huge. It is so big that this past fall, there was such a big hatch of late walleye that they were catching these really big gorged walleye, and the walleye were eating fry walleye to stay alive. I mean, just hammered full of small walleye, which is crazy. I love it. It's great. However, it's just like anything else. So I'm a high school teacher. Anything above Columbus, that way they still know about as far as education. Anything below Columbus, not so much. Same way with conservation, ODNR, a whole deal. I saw a meme the other day. It was hilarious. It said people in London drive on the left-hand side of the road. People in Ohio drive on what's left of the road. Classic. Do you prefer fishing Ohio, Kentucky, or West Virginia lakes better, and why? So, man, tough question. If I were going to choose any of those states, I would say Ohio just because of Lake Erie. I would say Ohio just because of, Mosquito Creek. I would say Ohio because of Rocky Fork, Paint Creek, places like that. Do I like fishing any of these three? Yeah, okay. Lake Erie, yes. My absolute favorite place to fish is Lake St. Clair in Detroit, Michigan. It is absolutely amazing up there. You get in there. This time, like I said, there was a guy out there this past weekend that caught 119 smallmouth in one day. That is absolutely putting a hammer on him. But if I were going to choose a state, Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, it would definitely be Ohio. However, with that being said, I spend most of my time fishing in Kentucky lakes. And that's because Grayson and Yatesville are the closest ones to me other than Vesuvius, which is a trolling motor only lake. But if I were going to fish any of those three, it would definitely be Ohio. So we do have some nice roads, man. And I see some things, but I see also like if you could drive 75 north through Ohio, going up through, and you're going to Michigan to fish St. Clair, I swear to goodness, when you get out of Toledo and you go you see Welcome to Michigan on 75 north, and you're driving right past Toledo, Welcome to Michigan, the next 10 miles of your life, you better hope you got a good dentist, because it will absolutely beat the ever-loving fillings out of your teeth. So I didn't realize that till then. But yeah, I'm not super upset with the state of Ohio's roads the way they are. Ohio has the worst quality control on average due to the quantity of flood control lakes. You're right, man. It seems like every lake that I fish is a flood control lake. It's just like Grayson and Yatesville and Ohio and those things. You know, they don't have a chance to get a normalcy. And you're right. So it's kind of like they're always on a treadmill, and they're always trying to. It's up and down. It's crazy as far as the quality of the water. Worm Leap says he'll be on St. Clair in May. Can't wait. So get a hold of me, Worm. If you're not going up there with anybody you know and you need some spots, dude, I will give you any spot that I know of. If you've never been there, it is an absolute bucket list lake. I'm taking my dad and Dusty up there this June. We're going up. We're leaving Memorial Day. We're actually leaving Memorial Day that Monday. And we're going to go up and fish we're going to fish hopefully Monday evening, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning, drive when we get tired of fishing, whatever time that is, drive from there down to Lake Erie, fish with Chuck, my cousin Josh, my Uncle Keith, and Jamie, the people that you saw last time at Ohio or up at Lake Erie, are going to be meeting us there, and we're going to be catching some absolute hammer walleye with Chuck. But again, Worm, if you've never been there, if you're not going with somebody that you know that knows what's going on, let me know. I'll be able to let you know. Cool, Worm. So maybe you can delve me some information once you find out where they're at. So let's look at some other comments here. Next question. This is another big one that I get asked a lot, and that is, why do you fish as a coangler when you have a boat? Well, the long and short of that is that it's not because I don't feel like my skills match up with anybody else's. The long of it is that I don't have the time to put into fishing and pre-fishing tournaments later on in the year. And I don't want to put my co-angler who will draw me in that tournament as a disadvantage because they have worked their tail off to get to like the BFL regional or the Toyota Series championship. I don't do that because, again, I'm a high school teacher. They give me 3 months off in the summer. So when I try to start taking days off in the fall, when school starts turning back up, when that is, when the regionals happen, or when the Toyota Series that Chris Malone won, the championship was on Cumberland this past year. It's always in the fall. I think it was in November. It was actually, end of November this past year in Cumberland, which I can't take days off work to pre-fish. I would go in blind, and I'm going to set myself up for failure. I'm also going to be setting my co-angler up for failure, and I don't want to do that. That's number one. The second thing is that I get to learn from my boater. The people in the BFLs, the people that are in the Toyota Series, the people that are in the Opens for the BASS, these people are not there because they just want to go donate money. These guys are absolute hammers, and I get to learn from them. I get to pick their brain. I get to see what happens, and I get to try to build my repertoire of catching fish more and more and more, which is huge for me. Those are the two reasons I fish as a co-angler, and not because I have to, because I have a boat. That's just the reason I don't. Yeah, you're right, Fred. So there's some lakes, like, for example, St. Clair, and Worm, you're going to see it probably end of May when you're there. Fish are going to be moving up into the 8-foot range, probably to start spawning. Dude, when you pull up into a spawning flat on Lake St. Clair and the water is clear, you can look around you on a sunny day and find 500 beds just in the amount of area that you can find. and every one of those beds will have a freaking hammer smallmouth on it, a female and a male, just as far as you can see. You could troll up and look down. There will be something the size of a car hood that's white, and you'll see 2 fish on it. You drop down in there, and I guarantee you can catch them. But we don't have that around here, man. You can pull up into a shallow cove in May here when they're supposed to be spawning, end of April, May, and you may see 1 fish on the bed, or you may see 2. You don't see a ton like you should. Indian Lake. Where do I fish in Indian Lake, Randy? If you're talking about that, my favorite spot to fish in Indian Lake is the game preserve back past what is it, Atchison's, the bar back in that way. My favorite place to fish is absolutely back in there. Swim jigs, pitching heavy cover. I'm talking about getting in the lily pads. Like, don't pitch the cover, get in those bad boys. 1.25 ounce weight, get in there. I mean, up close and personal, close combat. Better make sure you have some 4-wheel drives on or you have your rod and reel locked into 4-wheel drive because you're going to need it. Oh, Indiana. Sorry. I saw that. Indiana. So I fish Brookville is where I actually bought my boat from in Indiana, which I saw that there was a tournament there this past weekend. I think Ryan actually won it, I'm pretty sure he won it. But let's see. We have, I fished Tanner's Creek on the Ohio River out of Indiana, and that is about it for there. We like Muscatmoot. There are fish everywhere. So you're right. So you've been there. Muscatmoot Bay is awesome. The mile roads are amazing. There is a little cove. I can't think of the name of it. Right outside of right outside of Harley Ensign Ramp. If you go out of Harley and left, there's a little cove there, and you can absolutely smash them in there too. Dude, they're everywhere though. Like I said, I keep telling my dad and Dusty, and sure enough, I'm gonna hype this thing up, or my boat's not gonna be fixed, or we're gonna go there and just absolutely get handed to me. But I've never been there in that time of year where we can't catch fish, so I'm really excited about that. It's just like anything else though; it gets big sometimes. The crazy thing about St. Clair and up that way is if you're bass fishing, people think you're junk fishing. They're like, no, what are you fishing for bass for, man? It's junk fishing. Like, if you're not throwing lures this big for muskie, you are nobody up there. Crazy. Next question. Why do you pursue a YouTube channel? Isn't that a lot of work? Sure is. Ton of work. More than I ever thought it would be. But I'm finally seeing some rewards to my work. 2,500 and some odd subscribers. Let's see. Make sure that I am not telling you a lie, because I don't want to tell you a lie. Let me check here just to see what's going on with my channel. 2,580 subscribers, which is pretty amazing stuff. Thank you guys out there. If you guys haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'd appreciate it. Again, just like the Facebook, youtube.com/OnAnotherLine. Like to talk fishing. I try to post videos at least once a week, live video, and then a video about fishing. We're going to see one coming up this week where I am actually going to be bank fishing. Hard to say. I'm going to take one rod and one reel, and I'm going to take the lure lock roll up, and I'm going to put everything that I can carry in that roll up, and I'm taking it bank fishing with me, and I'm going to try to catch my first bass for 2021. But anyway, out there on the Facebook lands and YouTube lands, I appreciate you guys. If you guys would subscribe to that, it would be a ton of help for me. A lot of work as a single content creator. I'm the camera guy. I'm the audio guy. I'm the editor. I'm the talent. We'll use that loosely. The talent. I'm the actor. I do a lot of things, and it is a lot of work, but I enjoy it. I'm still going to be fishing, and I teach video and sound as a high school teacher, so it allows me to show my students videos that I produce. And you can go back and look at my early videos from YouTube and now, and I feel like my production quality is getting up there and a little better. Mark Hickey, dude, let me know how it happened. Let me know how it's working up there, because I know it's gonna be. If I get my boat back next week sometime, which I'm not looking forward to, I'm not hopeful. But if I did, I was thinking about going to Chick, but I am probably going to go north just because I love it that much. Let me know how you do up there. Another good question that I ask myself often. If you could buy any boat on the market today, what would it be and why? I fish a Stratus. Stratus are no longer made. You can thank Johnny Morris for that. Johnny Morris bought a ton of boats and he shut them all down. He bought Legend, shut them down. He bought Stratus, shut them down. There's a lot of boats out there that are not any longer, they're no longer made. But I've been in a couple of boats that I would buy, and depending on my money situation and monetary deal, there are 3 boats that I would severely look at, and my number one choice would be a Camus. And I wasn't a Triton fan, which is weird. I know Mark out there was fishing a Triton before. He actually has a Phoenix now, and that's my number 3 on the list. But I got the ride in Drew Sadler's Camus. It's a 20-foot Camus, 250 Pro XS, 4-stroke Mercury. And I love the way the boat was laid out. It has a sea deck where your feet would go when you're riding in the compartment. All of the latches or all the lids have gas shocks on them. So there's no slamming. There's no hinge fatigue. There's a lot of fit and finish issues that they fixed. They made sure every screw was turned in correctly. They made sure both of the rod lockers up front have sea deck in them. That way you don't have to worry about them getting mildew or moldy or carpet and things. They also, as far as I know, unless Drew has taken his out, the left rod holder didn't have a rod organizer in there. But I love the way it was laid out. Camus boats are Ranger price, though. You're talking 75 plus for a decked out boat. I will never be able to afford that, at least until I pay my house off, which is, another 15, 20 years. When I get that off, sure, I might be able to afford something like that. But I like the idea that it rode really well. It was a fairly speedy, fairly quick boat, rode good. I was only in it for an hour, 2 hours. Well, actually about 4 hours we were fishing, but we made about a 20-mile run in his boat. And I liked it. It rode really well. I love the seats. I like the sea deck. Again, there's a lot of fit and finish things there. I saw some of them. I love the way they look. That would be my number one if I was going to buy one. And that's right now. That's sight unseen, me not driving one. That was me riding one. Next would probably be a Nitro. There's a lot of things about Nitro that I love. Huge deck. You can land a helicopter on in front of those things. They're really nice riding boats. The price range is down to where, I don't know, people can afford them. You can pick one up for about 65 grand probably, which is still a ton of money. But in the bass boat world, that's one of the lower price ones. And then the third one, as I was talking about, is the Phoenix. And I like the Phoenix. I like the only thing that I don't like about Phoenix is when they first come out, their seats looked terrible. It looked like they were like dollar store seats. And if I'm paying 70 grand for a boat, I want some seats that look like I paid for them. Now they've remedied that. The seats look really nice. But one of the things, and I'm sure you could probably order a collar that you could match it where you couldn't see it, but I absolutely hate those wings that come up around the back of the transom of the boat. It just does it for me. It's just something that I just can't get over. You could definitely tell what it is when it goes by you, because normally they do go by me at 75, 80 mile an hour. They're speedy boats. They're laid out for fishermen too. Got a lot of storage and things in them. But those would be my top 3 boats if I were going to look into boats today. Do any more breaking down the Ohio River when you get your boat back? Absolutely. I'm going to spend a lot of time on the river this year just for the simple fact that it is the absolute closest body of water to me. I could be on the Ohio River in 2 minutes from my house, which is big time. I didn't spend a lot of time on the river last year just for the simple fact is I hate the Ohio River, but I need to learn how to fish it. Absolutely. I'll be doing some more breaking down the Ohio River series, and that will be starting roughly as soon as I get my boat back. It's starting to get down into the situation where the river is getting fishable. It's been way out. It was even out of its banks in some areas there recently. But yes, absolutely. Yeah, Mark's got a Phoenix 721. I'm sure you love it. Triton was okay. This Phoenix is a rocket ship, 100%. Brian Sprecher. Sorry if I mispronounced your name there. So, question was lakes that are overfished. What would be a good suggestion on what bait or lure to get them to bite? We fish smaller Kentucky lakes. If you want fish to bite and it's overpressured, man, finesse. Wacky rig. A weightless wacky rig Senko absolutely will smash fish. They will get bit more often than not. A shaky head is a really good opportunity. It just depends. The water's really clear. I would stay in those rounds. Throw on a small bait. Throw a small Zoom speed crawl with like a 16th ounce tungsten or even up to a 1/4 ounce tungsten, something that's really natural looking. And again, I cannot stress enough, if it's overpressured, they've seen every bait on the planet. That's just the way it is. Lures catch more fishermen than they do fish. We all know that. I was like, oh, that bait looks cool. Guess what? It's still on my boat. I still haven't thrown it today. I'm still throwing the 7 baits I threw since I've been in high school. But they see everything. My advice to fish really high pressure lakes: downsize your selection, throw smaller baits, throw finesse style techniques, weightless wacky rig. I like throwing a Jackal tungsten head wacky rig. Wackle. That's a pretty cool word. Wacky rig. And my favorite thing to throw on that is I like throwing a Yum dinger on there. Same as a as a Cinco. Really well. They get bit, man. If I was going to fish a really high pressure lake, finesse deal. But if I wanted to throw a moving bait, I would throw a small crankbait, 1.0 KVD, maybe even to a 1.5, but I don't think I would go there. I would stick with a 1.0, maybe throw with the shallow diving 1.0 or the shallow diving 1.5. A wake bait is really good. Early in the morning, late in the evening, a popper. Guys, if you're fishing an overpressure lake and it's in the summertime, you cannot not tie on a popper. Absolutely catches fish, and you can fish it as fast or as slow as you want to. Those would be my baits to go to. Yeah, you're right, Mark. The only problem is that mine's in the shop and yours is at your house, and we both have payments on them. That sucks. But you're right, man. Every Phoenix I've ever seen is an absolute speed demon. Love them. I like the way they're laid out, especially those. What are they? 921. The really big ones, like the ones that are like their upper echelon boats, like the coup de grace, if you will. I think that there are a few of them. Aluminum boats. So that's something I've been looking into. I like the Crestliners. Crestliners are absolutely monstrosity. They're huge. The deck of them things are giant. You have a ton of. I mean, I feel like I can go out there and do like yoga while I'm pitching and flipping from giant bass in the timber. I don't know what I would buy, man. I tell you what. I tell you one thing. You can put an aluminum boat a lot of places that you can't put a glass boat. And another cool thing is that aluminum boats are actually about half the price. So it's definitely a viable option for me if I ever buy a new boat. Just for the simple fact is that bass boats, you guys know this, man. The market has to implode eventually. It has to implode. There's no way that everybody on the planet can afford a $120,000 rig when you got to have a $50,000 truck to pull it. You can't do it unless you're KVD or Iconelli or these people that make $1 billion a year doing this stuff. Popper with Chad's go-to bait on the river for smallies. Man, you know what? I was thinking about Chad the other day. Chad is, I was actually thinking about a specific picture. I think you probably took it. You guys are probably fishing together, of probably a 5 or 6 pound largemouth that you guys caught out Grayson before a Lawrence County Bass tournament, like a week before, man. Like, it was a beautiful picture. Big rock wall behind you guys. Like, I see it vividly. I love throwing poppers on any bait. Ricky Barnett with the Crestliner. Ricky has a Crestliner, I think, or had one, or I know something. But they're great boats, man. And the price is right on them. And they're just as fast as any other boat. They do have, I mean, like, I don't know, space. I think storage is an issue on some of them, but I don't know. I've never seen the storage issue or the storage compartment ever in an aluminum boat. But as far as aluminum boats go, I'm actually looking right now into buying a tiny boat. And when I say that, I want to buy a John boat. And the reason I want to buy a John boat is for times like this, when I don't have my glass boat. Things happen. My lower unit's jacked up right now. I have to wait for it to get fixed. In between that time, I still like to get out on the water. I think I'm going to do a series about buying just a junk aluminum boat and setting it up to fish when I don't have my glass boat, or if I just want to go pond hopping in a little, in a little deal. So I'm hoping to have a 10 rig here very soon. Looked at an Express for my Phoenix. That's, I hear that's a very good deal. There's a lot of people. Isn't that what? Let's see. There's 2 pros fishing those things right now. Jason Christie, I think, isn't he fishing one? If I'm not mistaken, he's definitely fishing an aluminum, but I think it's an Express. Is John Cox still fishing the Crestliner? Ricky, do you know? All right. One more question here that I've been asking more often than not, and then we'll let you guys go. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments below. We'll definitely take a look at those. Why G Loomis? Why Shimano? And why are you such a nut over this brand? When in reality, let's face it, Shimano and G Loomis are some of the highest priced products on the fishing market. You're not wrong. Why do I fish Shimano? Why do I fish G Loomis? Well, G Loomis is a new found love for me, and I'll tell you why. G Loomis for me was that high hanging fruit, the stuff that everybody wanted to have, stuff that works, the stuff that is, the absolute best that you can get. Everybody talks about them, the G Loomis NRX before the Conquest come out. A lot of things. I never could afford them. Never could. $575 for a rod, you're right. Ton of money. I'm a high school teacher. That's a week's paycheck for me, pretty much. That's a lot of money. Ton of money. I don't take those purchases lightly. However, in the Loomis side of things, what you're getting is you're getting a warranty. You're also getting it handmade one at a time, one by people like you and I in Washington State here in the United States of America, which is a big deal. Some of the best components and things like that. So they do drive the price up a little bit because they're using the best components on the planet, and they're paying people like you and I to build these one by one in the United States, which goes to say without saying something. Why Shimano? Why G Loomis? Same deal. A lot of people don't know that Shimano actually owns G Loomis. They bought Gary Loomis out about 25 years ago. So if you've been fishing G Loomis for the past 25 years, you fished the Shimano product. It's still made in a G Loomis factory in Washington State. Why do I fish Shimano? Shimano, I feel like, is the best bang for your buck when it comes to an investment. Sure, a lot of other stuff is more pricey than most other real manufacturers on the planet. But you're getting a lot of technology that you don't get in other real manufacturers. I encourage any of you guys that are out there watching that are in my area, you will be in my area, get with me if my boat's fixed. I have a lot of rods, different, I have Poison Adrenas, I have NRX, I have a Conquest, I have GLX. I'm lying to you. GLX is the only series that I don't have a rod from. I have IMX Pro, I have E6X, I have Zodius, I have an X Pride, I have again NRX, Conquest, and the likes there. I have a ton of reels and rods. So I encourage you to get with me. I'll put them in your hands, and you'll understand why I fish them. They're second to none in my opinion. Are there reels out there that are made that are decent that you can fish with? Sure. Are you gonna buy 20 of those by the time you buy one Shimano? Probably. That's why I fish. Longevity. The Loomis warranty is number one. That's number one reason I fish Loomis. 100%. Handmade one at a time in the United States of America by people like you and I. Limited lifetime warranty, which means you go out and you set the hook and you break it, and it's a manufacturer defect. You call them up, hey, I broke this rod. You ship it back, they'll send it back. Brand new rod. Another thing that Loomis has is the expediter service, which a lot of people don't know. Expediter service is a no questions asked warranty. So you go and let's just say that you have an NRX and you go out fishing and you're fishing at Lake St. Clair, and you pitch into a dock and you set the hook and you're into the brush, or you're into the dock pylon. You set the hook and you break that rod on a braid hook set straight to wood, and it snaps the rod. It's a no questions asked. You call them up. It's $150 for the Loomis NRX. You call them up. Hey, I have an 894C JWR, and I want to use the expediter service. And they'll ask you, what's the address? They'll ship it to you overnight. That same night, they'll overnight it to you wherever you're at in the United States. They'll overnight that rod to you, $150. What you do is you take the old rod that's broken, you put it in the tube that's already postmarked, and you send it back to them, and you have the brand new rod. So, guys, if you've ever shipped a rod anywhere in the United States, even to ship it for a week, it's like $50. So can you imagine how much overnighting a rod would be anywhere in the United States? It's a ton. Check out the expediter service. That's why I fish Loomis. That's right. Dollar bill loan, which, by the way, dude, absolutely, I was no more happy. I'm sure I wasn't more happy than he was, but I was pumped that he won that tournament the other day. Like, that joker has put in his time. You're right, Randy. Even lower middle class Shimano is amazing, and that's another reason I fish Shimano. Is I still have fond memories of buying my very first Shimano FX. I was probably 13 years old. My dad took me to the tackle box when it was located down in Ironton by the I guess it used to be Big Lots down there, but it was located in a little strip mall by Ming Moon in Ironton. Walked in, bought like an FX rod and reel combo. The entire thing was like less than $25. And I know if I wasn't an idiot and lost that thing years ago, that it would still be fishable today. No doubt. No doubt. Shimano Sitka are phenomenal reels, man. I wish they would have never stopped making them. They're great reels. I had two of them. I had three of them. Sold one last year just because I had too many rods and reels, and that's saying something. You know, when you start downsizing because you got too many, that's too many. And you're right, man. Like the Siticas, they just keep on going. Another thing that you see is like there's old green Corrados that people go crazy for. And the reason that they go crazy for them is because they have brass gears in them. Well, the newer reels, like the SLX, the SLX is comparable to that green Corrado. Brass gears. The newer reels have what's known as Hagane bodies or Hagane gears. Hagane gearing is a cold forged or cold stamp process where they take a chunk of metal and they compress it at really high pressures and creates these gears or bodies that causes high precision, and there's no machining run out. If you've ever spun a drill bit in a drill, you'll see that drill bit, even if it's brand new, have a slight bend to it, and that's called run out. No matter, even if you buy the most expensive things on the planet, as far as the drill bits, they're going to have a little bit of run out. This way, you don't have that. So anyway, guys, appreciate you guys sticking around. It's been at that hour mark. Thanks for guys joining around and taking a run around the fishing world with me for this past week. Waiting on my boat to get fixed. We'll be out. I'll be using some videos, some of this time the video, some bank fishing videos. If any of you guys are in my area want to go fishing, get a hold of me. I'm off all next week. I have rods. We'll travel. I'll pay for gas, whatever I need to do. Let's get out and do some fishing. Ready to do it. I have a couple new videos out on the YouTubes. One of them is the brand new Shimano Ultegra FC, which is brand new for 2021. As far as I know, one of the only shops on the planet right now that have these things is Greg Drown on the tackle box, South Point, Ohio. 411 Solid Road, South Point, Ohio, 45638 will get you directly to his door. Go in there and tell him Tyler from OnAnotherLine sent you, and pick up a van for $2,500, which he has in stock, a Stratic 2500, which he has in stock. If you want a 2000 series van, they have a 1000 series van for 500 series. They have Accents in stock. They have Twin Powers in stock. They just sold a Stella yesterday, or they would have it in stock. They got some more coming in, but they have a lot of different reels out. They actually got some Corrado DCs in stock, I'm pretty sure. SLX DCs, SLXs, you name it, they have it. Just don't look for a medium action spinning rod in the Zodius or X Pride line because they don't have it. I've been trying to find one for Dusty for about 2 months. Anyway. Andrew 6, what's up, buddy? Yeah, so I'm hoping I'm out there too. Let's get together and do some fishing. Again, one last shout out to Shannon Maple here, Maple Nut Designs. And you guys know the routine. Appreciate you guys sticking around for this episode of On Another Line. If you guys can, get out there and lean on them. See you next time on Another Line.